In fact, our historiography traces our origin right
From Misri.
Misri.
Yes.
And in fact, before Misri, we are believed to have come from Kush.
From Kush.
Kush is somewhere in the Middle East.
Exactly.
And that is when we came to Misri, and from there, along the river Nile, migrate upwards.
Exactly. You know about what time the migrations happened? Because I see that there's many different people of Africa that has migrated from Misri.
Yeah.
Even in West Africa.
Indeed. In fact, what happened was that the migration from Misri is believed to have taken place around 500 BC. And we came to settle in the highlands of Abyssinia.
Exactly.
Which is currently Ethiopia. Ethiopia covers part of that Abyssinia. But when we are talking of Abyssinia, we mean Ethiopia, around Sudan there, and all the like. And that is where we settled. And in our history, we have somebody called Maero. Maero was one of the leaders. And while he was guarding the compound, he was killed by one of the wild animals.
Okay.
It was conceived to be a bad omen, and that is how they migrated to Uganda. In Uganda, we are believed to have arrived there around 300 AD. And around 300 AD is when the Uganda under the Bunyoro-Kitara kingdom was thriving. And we took over that. We started ruling there, and that rule ended in around 900 AD when there was the succession feuds that led to one of the leaders, Wanga I, to move up to Lela in Kisumu. And it was around Lela that now we had offshoots traveling here, traveling south Nyanza and all the like.
What age was that around? What year around?
Around, they arrived in Kisumu around 900 AD.
900 AD.
But the dispersal started taking place around 1000.
Okay. So that was from the Kabaka kingdom.
Yeah.
So this is still the whole shrine. But the other side is where the burial is taking place.
And that kind of tree will be found in most homes of our people. And those are the trees under which the remains of the kings would be laid.
Okay.
Yeah, this is it. Yes. Yeah. Now you can come and see. You can come and
yeah, this is the area.
Deep at the heart of Kenya's western region lies a jewel, a treasure guarded so watchfully that to access it, you need the consent of the king. I'm talking about the Wanga shrines. The shrines are located in Matungu and Shianda areas near Mumias town, capital of the Luya kingdom of Wanga.
So we are in Kenya for a burial. My brother-in-law recently passed.
In Mbita.
In Bita, by the lake. So I had to get a corona test and get my visa. And at the moment I was at the airport, that's when I received my visa. So we had to rush to Kenya to participate in the burial.
Lano, so soon the Lula Karun.
Because it was present
Now let's show you.
Now you see this big, these three, just move a little bit.
Where you?
These three trees, the big ones. So that is where these are three Nabongos who died and buried there.
Oh, they're under these trees.
Yes. So that one is
Now this one was a trench that would separate the homestead of the king and the external. And this was called, with us we call it on cover, but a home was surrounded by a big trench which enemies could not jump and go over.
Yeah, this one was very deep.
Very deep, so that
If he
anybody
went in, he would
not come back. So if enemies
And
would come and
surround.
attack, they would land here without knowing. Yeah.
And they leave it bushy, so you don't know.
No, what is there?
Exactly. But there was a gate.
Yeah.
Like now, the other side was the gate.
So this is also where the king's homestead was.
Yes.
And back then the kings was buried, second burial also at the homestead.
Yes.
Now,
No?
that time, the first king and the people had to move out. That now that is a respected area where the king has to be buried. So they had to move out, and that is why you find that if you go, our current king is far away from here. If he dies, reaches some years like 10 or whatever, then they bring his remains.
Like he brought his father here.
Yeah. Grandfather.
Oh, the grandfather.
And I heard that he's supposed to be buried sitting the first time and laying the next time.
Yeah.
So that means that as he's buried sitting, that means he's still
Yeah. He's-
Watching over.
watching.
okay, that's the belief that he's watching over his people. Yeah.
And then when he's buried lying, that means he's now sleeping.
Yeah. And somebody else has already taken
Okay.
over. Yeah.
Okay.
So at the time of lying is now when they transfer the bones here
Yeah. Yeah.
for the
Okay.
burial.
Okay.
But initially he must sit in a boat.
Okay.
There's a traditional boat where they put him.
Seeds, and then they cover
So at one point he'll also have to transfer the remains of his father here. So it's a big ceremony. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, forest has been wrecked.
It has been wrecked.
So tulikuwa tunasema hii miti hiyo na kuna ingine pale.
Yeah.
Those are sio hii zile.
Yeah.
Those are the kings. Which tree?
So the tree grows from the remains of the king.
Like the trees, it's like how many years? Like this one? How many years old?
This one is from 1772.
1772.
Yeah.
And the trees, they are very strong.
Yeah.
There's a particular tree that is planted.
On Siola. Do you have an example of that Siola tree here?
It's this one.
Siala. Oh, yeah. We in Luo we call it Siala.
Siala.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, in Luo we call it Siala.
The one you are saying, the giving glory.
Is this the giving
Yeah,
tree?
even that one is Siala.
I heard that if you make a prayer close to that tree, like, is
Yeah,
it?
normally that is the tree where even sacrifices
They believe.
were made. Yeah.
It is not the tree that prayers are made, but prayers are made under that tree because it offers protection.
Yeah.
All our people, many people believe, oh, those people, they worship idols, they worship stones, they worship
Exactly.
trees. No, it is they sit under those trees and then they carry out their prayers.
Exactly.
But before they realized who God was, there was the aspect of the sun. Because the sun was the one that was giving light to everybody, and you do all your activities and everything else. Then comes night. So when people would see the sun come up, they would feel our Creator, our Lord has come. So they used to call him Were. Were Nyagalaka, Were Hagawa. So the sun would shine over the foods and they do it. So the sun was like where the provider, the Hakava. So that's how they believed. And of course, if you go back and find out what happened during the story of creation, the Tetie, which was Gondwana land and whatever, was separated from the mass water sources. Then the world came up, and then the oceans were separated, and then life started at that time. Now, this was brought to us by the Christian missionaries who first stepped here in Kenya in 1843. That's when Rebman stepped in Mombasa and started the church. We had somebody, Dr. David Livingstone, who also passed around here. Was it 1863?
Yeah.
His way to Uganda.
Yeah, he came to Buganda Kingdom.
Yes. He also had Bishop Hannington, who went to Uganda, but he passed here. He was given guards, but there he was murdered on the orders of the Kabaka because he emerged from the east. The Bugandans believed that our people who went to east will one day come back to conquer us. So anybody coming from the east has to be slaughtered because we have to protect our kingdom. Yeah.
Exactly. Everybody coming from the east will have to be slaughtered.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like with the tree, is it possible for us to pray for our brother that has just passed, like for his protection? For our brother in the Suba district.
Yes,
who is,
that's what I'm saying, that the prayer is always conducted by as a traditional spiritual leader. He can offer those prayers, yes. Although you go to church, isn't it?
Yes.
At the end of the church, you give there some tithe. The right hand does not know what the left hand has. And then he will say, your prayers have been received.
we understand. Yeah, we understand.
Do you
And
want to make a prayer?
Yeah.
we would like to. Yes, we would like to.
Yabenyakulam baram mundu wabafire. Umasayira ko. Ano labasayira kulisiwalan. Nina wachana wait. Yeah, you can join him.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I should turn the camera off, huh?
It's some, you know, we don't, we are also excited because